I mean, Representative we got, whatever. Representative Brown.
President voting.
Representative Suvak.
Nice.
Representative Williams. Representative Villano. Representative In. Representative Tabachnik. Representative Owaputsi. Representative Aruma Gasami. Representative Smith. Representative Lee. Representative Falkenberg. Yay. Representative Law. Representative Hoffman.
President voting.
Representative Lupton.
President voting.
Representative Cummins. Representative Thompson. Representative Chu. Representative Schillo. Representative Beckett. Representative Fernandez. Representative Dooner. Representative Hale. Thanks for the laptop. Representative Trong. Representative Ioannidis. Representative Lindell. Representative Irick. Representative Park. Representative Lee. Representative McKee. Representative Schloff. Representative Gallo.
President voting.
Representative Sabe.
President voting.
Representative DeBoss. Representative Fitch. Representative Singh. Representative Cruz.
President voting.
Speaker Perlosky.
Present.
Treasurer Sa.
Present.
Treasurer Moser.
Present.
Parliamentarian Brubaker.
Present.
Vice President Maloney.
President voting.
Vice President Dorbeck. Vice President Hamilton.
President voting.
Vice President Downey.
President voting.
Vice President Agrawal.
President voting.
And President Nguyen.
President voting.
Are there any guests with us tonight? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam President, will you introduce our guest?
Okay, we have a guest speaker today. He is Mike Cubitt, here to talk to us about one of the initiatives that the IT committee has been working very diligently with, and that is the antenna system and how that may help impact future technological advances here at this university. So, Mike.
Great, thanks. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to come and talk to you a little bit this evening. Kelly, thanks for helping to set this up. My name's Mike Cubitt. I'm the Director of Customer Service and Support for IT. I also direct Media Vision here on campus. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about improving mobile coverage on campus and an opportunity that we have that I'd like to share. So before I actually go into the presentation, just a quick question. How many of you in the room have smartphones? Okay. How many of you have noticed the semi-poor coverage that exists across the campus for your mobile device? Good. Okay. That's what we're actually hoping that this opportunity gives us a chance to rectify. So if I can get the first slide up here. Basically, we're talking about a distributed antenna system, and essentially what that is it is just as it describes. We're basically going to take mini cell towers and distribute them throughout the campus environment and actually within the in-building coverage as well. So the thought is to, as it says on the slide, really provide ubiquitous coverage. So you could go from across the campus, walk into your classroom building, walk into your residence hall, and really have sort of seamless coverage for your mobile device. With a lot of the initiatives, a lot of the services that are available and will be available for mobile devices, we think really now is the right time to improve that coverage. We've all kind of lived with the poor coverage for as long as we've all been on the campus. And we certainly recognize this as a great opportunity. So this next slide really, as I said, really kind of 4 benefits, provide seamless coverage, basically supports the enterprise. So not only the student community, but faculty and the staff community have challenges as well. Basically, it's a limited upfront investment. I can tell you a little bit about how that's actually arranged. It's really a minimal investment by the campus community, which makes this so appealing. Next slide here just really kind of shows basically the services enabled. You can see it's basically everything from walkie-talkies up through wireless LAN. It's basically agnostic to the type of cell service, to the coverage, to the carrier. So it doesn't matter if you're T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon, basically this antenna system will work across the board. Next slide really kind of shows conceptually what we're talking about. So just small, very low profile antenna would utilize the university's network, essentially unused dark fiber that exists throughout the campus to carry signals to a central hub that then actually ties to the carrier's infrastructure. Next slide shows very similar type of distribution within a building. So you have portions of buildings that basically very much the way the wireless access points work across the campus, except these are cell enabled. This next slide is really just examples of other installations, what those antennas look like. You can see very low profile. Those are things that university architects and just, will not adversely affect the aesthetic of the campus at all. So basically the process, so we have 2 companies that we're having conversations with right now. The university will enter into sort of a relationship with one of those 2 companies. Based on the execution of that agreement, the company will actually go out and do a site survey across the campus, an engineering study to see where they might locate antennas, what kind of penetration that you can get in certain buildings from the outdoor distribution, what additional coverage would we need sort of in building. Once they complete that study, then they will actually go out and they recruit the carriers to actually come and participate on the network. So there's really no upfront investment required by the university at all. After each carrier is basically signed on, the university then receives a pre-negotiated sum either on a monthly basis or as on an upfront lump sum as compensation from the DAS provider. Once they have basically one commitment, they'll go ahead and install the DAS, and then basically there's ongoing maintenance. There's a service level agreement that exists with between the campus and the DAS provider. They have a network operations center, service desk, very similar to the service desk that we have for the campus community. So the thought is to really maintain sort of 24/7, 365 coverage and support for the university community. So that's a very high level, kind of what we're planning. Any questions, comments, concerns?
So this would be if the campus internet went down.
This is a separate infrastructure than the campus internet.
So it wouldn't use the internet for the.
That's correct. It would be a separate connection to the carrier infrastructure. So some of the benefits, that's actually a good question. A lot of the mobile devices obviously use the wireless network on campus, basically because there's no cell service available. So one of the things that would happen, especially as more and more devices start to populate in the environment, we'll actually rely less on the campus wireless network and we'll utilize the DAS. Also, in one of the things that we recognize as staff is we have really good cell coverage, typically 3G coverage through the summer. When the students come back, we certainly see a significant impact, just basically because of the way that the carriers have populated the antennas around the campus. So this would also take the load off of the carriers' sort of current investment in cell coverage. There was another question.
Yeah, my question was, could you put that elsewhere and so with the party
It's a good question. Yeah, that's something that we have explored. I know Stanford, there's a couple other universities, Bob, that have done this as well. This actually this market really started in Las Vegas. So for those of you that have been to Las Vegas and in these, cavernous casinos where you're not going to see any kind of cell coverage, obviously there were some income opportunities. A couple companies saw certainly a white space as far as the ability to offer or provide a business opportunity. And that's really where that kind of got started. So I would say we're on the early adoption curve as far as universities are concerned, but there are a couple out there that have shown that it's beneficial. The reality in Northeast Ohio, if you know the region at all, there's probably not another portion of this region that has this great a concentration in people even during the business day, right? Between the university, the students who are always here, the staff who come here, each day, and all the folks as well. So it's a pretty high concentration of people, so it's pretty appealing to the carriers to be able to provide that kind of coverage. I think there was another.
You mentioned that going from node to node, I wouldn't lose coverage. So if I'm walking from class to my dorm, I wouldn't lose coverage. But what happens if I go from a node to a tower? Would the call drop? So like if I go from like the campus network, this DAS system, to the cell towers themselves, would the call drop, do you know? Or
I don't believe it will, I guess, but the best experience that I have a small microcell at home, and I could kind of go from sort of my microcell out to sort of the local tower, and I can do that without losing a call.
We always get, whenever something nice happens, everybody's always wondering about the cost. And you said that we get a stipend for this, right? So just, this means that this will not increase tuition, right?
That's correct, yes. That's what I feel is pretty appealing about this, is that this doesn't actually require any significant investment on the university's part. Basically, our contribution is finding a location about 400 square feet on campus for the DAS to be able to put their head end, and then basically if they need dark fiber to get around the campus, the DAS provider basically takes all the responsibility for providing that coverage. Yes.
So does this mean there'd be coverage in Weatherhead?
Yes, that'd be one of the areas indoor that we'd be targeting. We know that's been a problem, sort of sitting in that large ball of tinfoil over there. Absolutely.
So you said this will be on campus. What do you mean by on campus? Do you mean just the quad, freshman village, that kind of thing, the main areas? Or is this gonna, how far is this gonna extend out?
Our initial goal is to provide coverage across the entire campus. However, we feel this is appealing enough that this could extend out even beyond, so into University Circle in general. But that would be a separate agreement, separate arrangement between UCI and the DAS provider.
You said this service would really cater well to 3G users. Once 4G pops up and once wireless technology gets more sophisticated as it's happening so rapidly, will this system be able to handle all that? Is it a sustainable system that will last us at least 5 years or so, or will it get outdated very quickly and we'll have to keep adding improvements to it?
It's transparent to us as a customer. So as the wireless standards, the carriers come out with adopting new cell type signals, that'll be taken care of by the provider. And this is typically like a 10-year agreement between the university and the provider. And the back there.
Oops, sorry. You mentioned UH. Does this mean that it will include the entire hospital or just like the medical school and the nursing school as part of campus?
Part of the campus.
Will 3G access be limited by service provider, like Sprint, T-Mobile, or any of those, or will it be access to everyone?
It will be available as the carriers sign on to the DAS, but at least, and we've asked that same question, essentially they're all working off the same business model, right? And once one carrier signs on, the others are going to follow. At least historically, that's what their experience has been. There was also, I think, a question that came up in one of the previous presentations that we had given regarding if you have sort of free minutes or sort of sharing minutes within your plan, whether or not that would actually be recognized by the carriers. It actually is. So even if you have sort of free minutes, if you're a Verizon customer with friends or family members, it's not affected by the call going out through the DAS. Oh, I'm sorry.
When will this most likely be implemented?
The timeline that we're looking at is it takes about a year for the site survey, for everything to be put in place. We're looking at getting started on that really within the next couple of months.
Okay. Well, if you guys have any other questions, we can direct those to President Nguyen, and he'll definitely pass them on, or
Great.
VP Maloney. But thank you very much.
Great.
This was really interesting.
Great, thanks for the opportunity.
From someone who doesn't understand cell phones. So we're going to complete old business and new business first so that our finance committee can make it to their appeals meetings. So we're going to start with old business. Are there any nominations for Cutler House? Okay, Arts and Sciences. First year representative, Representative Hale.
Kayla Gray.
Okay. Any other arts and sciences? Okay, first year commuter representative. Okay, first year representative from Hitchcock. Treasurer Shaw.
Tulsi Patel.
Representative.
The constitutional changes go into effect immediately.
So, funny story about that. Only one of them actually passed. Only the one regarding multiple treasurers passed. You needed 2/3 for them to pass. So we cannot fill first-year houses from residence halls, and the commuter rep must be a first year.
And we cannot elect a speaker in the spring. So, other nominations for Hitchcock House? Okay, seeing none, we'll move, if someone wants to move to reintroduce Resolution R 20-08.
Move to introduce Resolution 20-08.
Okay, is there a speaker in the pro? Vice President Hamilton.
Can I have my agenda back? Allie, can I have my agenda?
Yep.
All right, after some hiatus, I'm back with this resolution. I believe last time we spoke, there was an amendment related to securing American students' financial aid. I can't remember what that quite was, but if someone wants to introduce that again, I'm more than open to it. I guess I have a long list of points that I can bring up once I get off the podium in terms of why we want to do this and why it is beneficial to you as an individual as well as this institution. I'm open to points.
Points for Vice President Hamilton. Representative Lupton?
I just was wondering if this is the correct time, because you're the speaker in the pro, maybe to address the points.
To do this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I believe last week, there was a speaker that came to the university that talked about the economic case for diversity. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend this. I really wanted to, though. But this sense, or this idea of diversity is just sort of being something that's thrusted upon us. There are benefits from having a more diverse population at this university. It's something that can benefit you as an individual by, decreasing the amount of ignorance that you may have, or it also increases the understanding that you might have around other cultural groups. So I guess specifically with granting international students financial aid, when I've talked with Rick Bischoff, the specific example he's given me is providing 6 need-based scholarships that are full rides for international students. Now, you might be thinking, why is that needed necessarily? And I understand why that might be. The rationale for that is that we can finally recruit students from third world countries in Latin America and Africa. I think you would see that in our undergraduate student population, those groups are underrepresented. And I think an institution like ours can do something about it by allowing up to 6 full ride financial aid scholarships for these individuals. Now, there might be some hesitation by individuals about providing financial aid to international students because what they perceive as international students not being as qualified as domestic students. Trouble or problems with the English language, cultural issues related to plagiarism are some that come to mind. Now, that would be an issue except that the admissions office has moved forward with increasing the standards for international students in the future. The plan is currently the TOEFL, not TOEFL, TOEFL score required for an international student to come to this university is an 80. If everything goes to plan, this next year it would be a 90, and they would also be required for the first time to take the SAT. And then the year after that, if everything works out well, if we're still able to get the benchmark in terms of the number of students we want that are international, then we would then increase this number, the TOEFL score, to 100 and still require them to take the SAT. So by doing this, we're going to have what could be potentially a paradox, where we would actually increase the number of international students that come here because we have higher standards. And that's because international students that are qualified to come here in the past, some of them have overlooked this school because they're looking at the TOEFL score that we require, but it's not on par with our domestic students. So by increasing that amount, we're now actually going to attract better qualified international students and increase the number of students or international students that we have. Overall, this is going to be beneficial for everyone. We want our institution to be better off after we leave because it gives a good name brand recognition for our degree, even though we're no longer at the institution. It's great to see that our degree is increasing in worth when we don't have to do anything. I guess what else related to this? I guess in terms of fears related to domestic students losing some of their financial aid in the future, these changes are going to marginally affect those that are here. The only thing I can perceive that's going to affect someone is that international students can now apply for the merit-based scholarships that are available to students that do not have merit-based scholarships. Now, this might be of some concern. I know it came up last year in the General Assembly, but this is about 7 scholarships, 7 individuals that are going to be affected by this. This is relatively minuscule. And then you also have to take into account that 40% of the school already has a merit-based scholarship coming in. Not everyone is qualified to get a merit-based scholarship, so the pool starts shrinking. There's also been a change in the way that they're going to start awarding merit-like scholarships, where they're no longer going to be called merit-based scholarships for the incoming class. They're going to be enrollment optimizing scholarships. Was that the correct term, Steve? Something along that. So basically they're, in the past, so anyone that has a merit-based scholarship right now, it ranges anywhere between like $1,000 to a full ride. That's a huge spectrum, and that's going to change for this incoming class and for every undergraduate that ever enters here from now on. It's going to be in the range between $10,000 and $20,000 a year. So what it's going to start doing is basically, I guess if you can bear with me for a second, imagine a normal distribution curve in your head, and it's sort of the, it's price sensitivity to college tuition. The inner economist in me is coming out. So on one side of the normal distribution, you've got people that are very price sensitive. Like the family wants to send their child to a school for free or the lowest cost possible. And then on the other side of the normal distribution curve, you've got individuals that absolutely do not care about the price of their child's education. You know, if Harvard were cost $1 million a year, they would still send their child there because all they care about is prestige in the name of the school on the degree. But what our university is doing is targeting the middle of the normal distribution, the regular part of the market. People that are somewhat price sensitive, but not enough to be totally one way or the other with those two extremes. So by actually allowing this $10,000 to $20,000 range in the enrollment enhancing scholarships, we're going to start targeting better students who have some price sensitivity issues, but not overbearing amount. And then we're also going to target better students that potentially we're going to head off to a better institution, but now with this money, they can come here. And so this is actually going to, I guess, decrease the need of providing these enrollment or these scholarships and allow for more revenues to be generated by the university. So yeah, that's what I got. Colin.
I guess I have two questions. First off, I do like that we're trying to bring in more international students that are for financial aid, so I do like the basic premise of this, and I don't think 6 scholarships is really going to make that much of a difference overall. My concern comes in, are there plans to enlarge that 6 like over the years? Because that's, I guess, one thing that I would have a concern with. That even though I think it's good for diversity, I think that also domestic students should have kind of that first slice because, you know, American students, American university, in some way our taxes are going to the school. So like 6 beginning isn't like at all. I think that's great, but I'm just curious later on down the road, is that going to increase exponentially or at all or anything like that? Or
I honestly wouldn't know. I'd assume that, you know, the university is probably not going to aim for anything over like 10% of the population being international students. And if they can find international students that are willing to pay the whole tuition price, then that's great because more money to use to improve academics and other things like putting cell towers around the university.
okay, and then just a follow-up to that. Well, actually, it's just a follow-up to that. On the merit-based scholarships, are the international students going to be allowed to apply for the merit-based only after they've been a student here at Case for a year? Because that's kind of how I understood it.
Yes, that's...
Okay, all right. Because that would take care of the concern of the testing inequality. It would actually be level playing field. So that.
Other points directly relating to the clarity of the bill? Yes.
The merit-based scholarships that Jared was referring to are different from...
Right, yeah, no, I understand that. He raised the points, I was just curious.
Okay.
Representative Hoffman?
This might be for discussion, but you mentioned how this will probably allow 6 full ride scholarships to be created or
yes,
whatever. You talked very detailed and the bill is very vague. Is there a reason for that?
A consensus between me and the other author over whether it should focus on financial or need-based aid, merit-based aid, or both. We came to the compromise over covering both because let's face it, everyone wants more money.
So the point is really just to say USG supports international students getting some type of aid.
Yes.
Okay.
Representative Williams?
I had a question because something that was brought up last time this bill was introduced, and it's related to the first, and it's not a discussion, it's a clarification for the first whereas clause. It says that 9% of the domestic student population receives financial aid while the international student population does not receive any financial aid and pays full tuition. Wasn't it mentioned last GA that these international students do actually indeed receive financial aid from their home countries?
Potentially. I wouldn't have any numbers off the top of my head.
Because I feel, and again, this part might be for discussion, but I do feel like the that whereas clause is not exactly untrue, but I feel like it's misleading.
Okay.
Yes.
Domestic students go to outside financial aid too, and that would be.
Representative Cruz?
Just as a point of clarification for those of us who don't know, how is the scoring on the TOEFL work? Like, we're increasing it from 80 to a 90, but what is like the total that is possible? 100? Like, if we're aiming for 100, is there more than that? Is there a total of 150 points available, or?
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe someone else knows. Yes.
I worked in a graduate admissions office and we got a lot of TOEFL scores, and I think it goes up to like 130 at least. So like, goes above 100.
Being set at 100, that's what our peer institutions are set at, like Northwestern, University of Chicago.
Other points of clarification on the bill? Okay, seeing none, is there a speaker in the con? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into discussion on resolution, I'm sorry, I misspoke before, resolution R20-08. We're gonna allow 10 minutes with potential for increasing discussion, because it seems like it's gonna be hot debate. But you don't have to use all 10 minutes. So, points for discussion. Vice President Agarwal?
Move to amend. I just wanted to make a suggestion for the third whereas clause. Will benefit recruitment of such future students and the retention of current international students.
Friendly.
Representative Williams?
Motion to amend the first whereas clause and remove "and pays full tuition" from the clause. Motion to amend to remove the statement "and pays full tuition" from the first whereas clause.
Okay, so can you read the statement as you would like it to read?
Whereas 90% of the domestic student population receives financial aid, while the international student population does not receive any financial aid from case. So making that specific.
Okay. Representative Hale?
Just for answering the question about TOEFL scores,
Okay, other points of discussion on the resolution? Vice President Downey?
I actually just want to say that I like the fact that we're trying to bring in a more diverse international student body, because we're appealing before because it was full tuition. It was $50-something thousand plus whatever, plus living expenses. So you're actually only getting a very narrow portion of the international student body. And that's why I kind of like this, because it is opening up to other international students that would have other experiences. So I do kind of like that, and I'm glad we support that.
Representative Gallo?
I actually just remembered Vice President Downey was talking about how it was only 6 scholarships or whatever. But when he came, he said it's not just 6 full rides. He said that it's 6 full scholarships. But whoever came to talk about it, he said it's 6 full scholarship amounts, but it can be divided up however they want.
It would be, for someone that has no assets whatsoever, they couldn't do that. It would have to be, you'd have to pay the full amount or they wouldn't get it.
Representative Hale?
Elaborate on the second whereas clause. What does it mean that international students have limited access to financial resources, and how do we know that?
So they can't apply for any loans from our federal government.
Representative Beckett?
I mean, could we say that instead? Because it's a little confusing, I think. Be like a merit.
Representative Cummins?
Didn't someone also mention that, when you apply for a green card to get into the United States, that you don't necessarily get a green card to have a campus job? And that was also included in the whereas clause. So they can't work or get a job, outside the circle like we could.
guess two things. First, the other quick question I had was, so as I understand from last time, there's already been plans in place to provide financial aid to students, for international students. This would just be us putting our support behind it, correct?
That's correct.
And then the second thing, I guess, I feel like I'm all for giving financial aid to international students because I do think that we need a more diverse population. But by the same token, I feel like this bill is very vague, and I feel like, and I'm not trying to be mean or like degrading to the international students or in any way, but I do feel like the bill's vagueness just doesn't support the spirit behind it. And I feel like the bill, I know that we can't put specific details in there, but I just don't feel comfortable just saying, hey, something's already happening and we're just kind of giving you guys a thumbs up. With this vagueness, so I don't know. I'm not quite sure what necessarily, besides, again, just us giving us a thumbs up to this would do.
Representative Williams, what would you like to see in the bill or resolution that would make you feel more comfortable voting in favor of us doing this then?
I'm not sure that it would necessarily be anything in the bill at this moment. I would like to more know why exactly us passing this bill would help the process more. Because, for example, with the recent resolution that was passed, or bill that whichever one it was, to go request more athletic equipment or from Veal or whichever one, or increase pool hours, whichever one it was, we at least saw something that hadn't really been seriously addressed before, in that we were able to say, hey, this is what we want. Here, though, I feel like we're not coming up with anything new. We're almost just passing this resolution just to pass the resolution.
Vice President Hamilton, did you want to comment on that?
I think what this resolution is emphasizing is that we value diversity and inclusion, and we want to make it a priority at this university. And if it's a voice coming from the undergraduate student government, then the administrators feel that this is a justified effort that is supported by people that are paying money here. It's a socially just thing that shows how open and how welcoming we are going to be to international students. And if we don't do this, then it makes me concerned about, I guess, potential issues of prejudice towards international students. I guess I want this place to be open and welcoming.
President Wynn?
I have to speak on behalf of VP Hamilton for a bit because he is being a little bit humble. The idea behind this resolution started in the beginning of summer of last year, in which the VP himself had wanted to work on international student financial aid. So originally, this is a USG-derived and original idea in which the students did come up to the administration and ask for this. Now, this resolution was brought up to the GA and was tabled and was brought back to the committee to work on, and that's why we are voting on it now or discussing it on it now. It does not mean that what we've said before doesn't still hold true to us. I think it still has that same voice that we said, a semester ago that said, yes, this was something very important to us. And I have to acknowledge the fact that VP Hamilton has worked hard and aimed so much hours into this since the beginning of the summer. And I don't think that we should take the fact that we are discussing this now and that plans have already been made for this. Plans have been made for this because we've had voiced about it since the summer.
Representative Hale?
Just speaking to a couple comments about the bill doesn't really reflect that spirit of we're encouraging diversity. Could we add that in? Because right now the only be it resolved is that the financial aid packages get created and it's very vague. Could we add, this is for discussion, I don't really know how to word this, but that maybe financial aid packages be created for international students such that they foster diversity on campus?
Friendly.
You have to actually make a motion and someone has to second it, but then we can go through that. Yes.
Motion to amend the first whereas clause, first be resolved clause, thank you, so that it reads that the Office of University Financial Aid create financial packages to support international students such that they foster diversity on campus.
Is that friendly?
Friendly.
Okay. Other points of discussion? Vice President Agarwal?
I have a question. Because this resolution is kind of like, I see it as like a preliminary thing where we're first voicing our support for this. Do you see, whether it may not be under your term, but for the Academic Affairs Committee in the future, like an additional resolution coming out that's a little bit more specific to either the merit-based situation versus, I see this as two different things, as international students getting merit-based from the university. Will we see another resolution on this, maybe, that's more specific about international financial aid?
Did you want to address the point?
In the sense that, does USG, do you think the Academic Affairs Committee would like to continue following up with this and getting into the nitty-gritty details of it in the future?
Not necessarily relevant to this bill, though it can come up in open forum. I think we can save that discussion for that time. Vice President Downey.
Call to previous question.
Is there any dissent on voting on Resolution R20-08? Okay, seeing no dissent, if you are in favor of Resolution R20-08 as amended, please raise your hand. Okay, all opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the resolution passes. Congratulations on your hard work. Is there any other old business tonight? Seeing none, we'll move into new business. Can I have it? Representative Williams?
Move to introduce Bill B 20-11.
Okay. Speaker in the pro? Granted. Or for the entire Finance Committee? Okay, you can lose 2 elected okay. So we cannot lose more than 2 elected representatives at this time? Oh, okay. Go ahead. Vice President Downey. Good call.
Okay. So the first bill, Bill 20-11, this is just a listing of the student organizations that we would like to recognize. These are that we've recognized through mass funding process. We do a recognition of all existing organizations as well as recognizing new organizations once a year through the mass funding process in addition to that. And hopefully some people have picked up a summary of those organizations. Most part, not too many changes. There are a couple new ones, but for the most part, they are the same. I do know there's going to be at least one more addition to this after appeals, but you will see the updated list on the next piece of legislation.
Points of clarification on the bill. Representative Williams?
Could you please, in the appendix, group 133, what are these 6-foot 4-inch kittens?
The 6'4" kittens is the new water polo team, and I've already been discussing with them about getting a new, more appropriate name. They were not under the impression that this list would be seen by all the administrators and all the different groups on campus, as well as all the incoming freshmen. As soon as they realized this, they definitely wanted to change the name to I'm not sure what the full name is, it's going to be something like the Case Water Polo Team or something like that. So, yeah.
Other points of clarification on the bill? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into discussion with the reminder that this bill must be tabled for at least 1 week to be voted on by the Assembly. Representative Hale?
Move to table Bill B 20-11.
Second.
Okay. Back into new business. Representative Hale?
Move to introduce Bill B 20-12.
Okay, Speaker in the pro, Vice President Downey.
Hopefully this one is not tabled as fast. This is the bill that is recognizing all the mass funding that we just did this last weekend to all the student organizations. Now you'll notice one thing I really want to point out is the mass funding results that we're providing here are not the detailed item by item list. If you have any questions, they are available to the public on Collegiate Link in the documents folder of each group, as well as I can pull up, because I have my computer now, or next week as well, any questions that people have. But what's provided to everyone here is just the actual total amount requested and total funded for each group that applied correctly for mass funding. Now, I do want to point out a couple things. You'll see that a couple groups had 0 requested and 0 allocated. That was because they submitted the wrong request. In a couple cases, it wasn't even really a request. We actually got one form that was the 2009 mass funding summary of all student organizations. So there were a little miscommunication, but overall, the response has been positive, although we will be sending out a survey to all the student groups to get more feedback on that. Open to points.
Representative Hale.
Just a quick question, how does Appendix A organize?
What do you mean?
Like, if I'm trying to find a group, where should I look? Like, is it alphabetical, is it by allocation now?
Oh, it's not fully, well, I mean, it is. It's organized just in order of the groups that we went. I can sort them however you want next time, but for right now, we just wanted to list the organizations. If Representative Hale would like a certain order next time, we can do that.
Perhaps alphabetical may be helpful. Representative Begat.
Point of information for the speaker. A couple of groups are listed here twice, such as Link and Muslim Student Association.
This was part of the issue, was that they submitted 2 times. So this is, okay, as a further point of information for the assembly, all the groups that did not submit forms correctly or didn't submit one, we told them to contact either myself or Vice President of Finance-elect Jaisal Shaw to set up a meeting to submit the forms. There's not going to be a back and forth. They actually have a meeting where we sit down, we do it together, so there's no miscommunication. We make sure we have everything and we're both agreed before they leave, so this doesn't happen again. And the groups have been meeting, so it's been going well.
Representative Hale.
Just speak specifically of the Student Government Association. The amount listed here is not the amount that was allocated. So, are these numbers? The number on this spreadsheet for specifically the Student Government Association is from last
year. Which amount are you referring to?
Both the 450 requested and the 50 allocated.
That's not quite.
Use a piece of paper with a straight edge.
Okay, I was like, you pulled these right off the forms. Okay.
Representative Dooner.
Okay, so
A couple of these clubs like requested a bunch of money, like Improvement, $825, and they only got $50, or like the Undergraduate Material Society, $1,200, and they only got $50. Or like Case Engineers Council requested over $2,500 and got $160. What would cause such a dramatic, such a low percentage there?
We're going to save that one for discussion if that's okay, because I think there'll be a lot of
Well, actually, there is one thing I do want to say right now. The forms allowed the Finance Committee to send back comments on every allocation that we did, as well as in general, so the groups have those. I do want to make that abundantly clear. Groups have never had that in the past, so.
Okay, other clarification questions on the bill? Okay, seeing Vice President Maloney.
I noticed that there's at least one group that was listed twice. That's just a clerical error, right?
No, that's because they submitted it twice. It was an error.
Oh.
And
right, yeah.
For the list that's complete with appeals and everything, this is going to be a little different, obviously.
Representative Cummins.
So that was, again, where they did not submit correctly. It came up and it had the requested number on it, but the way they saved everything, there was no data in the form. This is, again, why we're having one-on-one meetings with other groups that did not submit correctly.
All the other ones don't have.
Right. I mean, when we pulled up the form, most of the time, it wouldn't even open. There's open, but there was no information other than the requested amount. So what we're assuming happened is that student groups didn't follow the instructions completely, and they didn't save it correctly. And so we know there's misunderstanding. That's why we have the one-on-one meetings. So.
Colleen.
Can you talk about the fundraised monies and what was asked of the groups prior to this, please?
Yes. So as you know, all student groups have a allocated account and a fundraised account. Allocated is what we give student orgs through mass funding, rolling funding, reallocations, all that. It's money that does not roll over. It's also SAF money. So the fundraised funds are monies that the student orgs raise through different fundraisers, whatever, on their own. And then we hold, due to university policy, that they are not allowed to have a separate bank account. And so that money is held with us, but they're allowed to use it for whatever they want, so long as it's not alcohol, the normal kind of restrictions. But we did we looked at all the accounts, all the fundraised accounts before mass funding started, and all the accounts that were in excess of $300, all those groups received an email and had to give me a report on what their plan for that money was before mass funding even started. So we had an idea to make sure the groups actually knew what they were doing with their money. And what actually happens at the end of the semester, a lot of the groups go through their programming at the end, do big purchases at the end, and so a lot of the money, at one point it was actually over $1,000 for one account, and it's already dropped to zero now. So that's what happens a lot of times, but we're currently, we always kind of work with student groups to try to see what their plan is for that money.
Okay. Other clarification questions on the bill? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into discussion. Representative Bagat?
Just a quick question. I was just wondering whether or not there's a spike in amounts requested this year compared to other years.
It's a little hard to tell because we only had 122, if I remember right. Yeah, 122 student organizations actually request money because some didn't get their forms in on time, or the forms didn't come through, so we didn't know how much they actually requested. So the overall number, about 240,000, is a little bit lower. It's usually over 300,000, but student groups didn't get all their information in. So we're thinking that number is going to be up, usually back around where it is. We've also been pushing, because of the additional money put into mass funding this year, we've been working with a couple groups that, I know a couple dance groups usually rent costumes that are very expensive. We're talking several $100s a semester. We fund part of it. We're working with them to buy them as a capital purchase so that in years remaining they won't have to pay anything. We won't have to fund them, so that money can then go towards other student groups.
Representative Williams?
Motion to table Bill B 20-12.
Second.
Okay, we're going to vote on this one because it seems like there was a lot of questions existing in the body. So all in favor of tabling Bill B 20-12 at this time, please raise your hand.
Do people have questions?
Huh? Yeah, there were quite a few questions, so.
4, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, put your hand up really high because it's.
Suggest as your advisor as well, keep an eye on what's happening next week's meeting. Because if you don't have more questions, you're going to add to next week's meeting.
Look at my exact board.
Hey, can you raise your hand at this time if you had more questions? Okay, so we're going to entertain those questions at this time. Representative Lupton.
Yeah, I just was curious on the total amount requested. I know I mentioned that last semester. Is there a max that groups can request? I mean, if I'm a group, can I request 25,000 if I've got some great ideas about things?
Yeah, so there is a cap on student organizations. They're actually only allowed to request $5,000. And you'll see that some groups did go over that. They got a nice friendly reminder in their comment box that they're not allowed to do that, and they will be reminded of that again when they come in for appeals. So we do tell them that, and we do work with them, but we're also not going to deny them funding just because they requested over $5,000. We do work with them to be a little more realistic in their amounts they request, though.
Colleen?
Can I ask a couple?
Yes.
Real quick. Number one, this is an easy one. Did the Case Marathon group stay on campus?
What is it?
Marathon, the dance marathon?
Oh, dance marathon.
They stayed on campus, okay. The second question, since it seems...
The event or the group? Sorry.
The event.
I don't know about the event.
Okay.
I will meet with them. I will shoot them an email.
Okay. There were some rumors that it might, so I was worried about that much money going to something that was off campus. Can you talk very briefly about, there's two events that are over
there's quite a bit of money. It's a big drop, it's a big jump, which is footlighters. I get that. I do. You don't even have to address footlighters because they bring in 10 times more than you actually give them. Can you talk about the African American Society, 4,000, about 4,000 for them?
So Case African does a cultural dinner, and it's fairly successful from everything we can tell, from members going, from feedback we're getting, that kind of thing. And so whereas Footlighters and even ISA Cultural Show are more of a mature kind of organization, more mature event where they actually have the ability to fundraise more money beforehand so that USG doesn't have to finance it as much. This one is more in the beginning phases of it, and so it requires a little more funding from USG. So just a kind of point. Footlighters only asked for the rights to the plays. They didn't ask for money for costumes, for the sets, for lights, for any of that, because they handle all that through their ticket sales. We don't actually fund any of that for them anymore. Although, we do fund a little bit, but it's not anything compared to their actual budget. CASA's event is a little bit younger, and so they don't have the infrastructure.
It's African American Society, not the CASA event.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Is it for Ebony Ball? Ebony Ball?
I'm not sure the actual, I didn't memorize the numbers, but I can bring those up for you if you want them right now.
Okay, that helps. That helps a lot. And then finally, is there any possibility at some point, maybe when things slow down, finance can begin to have discussions about what is a reasonable ticket amount? Because cultural dinners, all of these events we're doing on campus, is it reasonable to expect that with escalating costs that ticket prices are still remaining $3 to $5? So I just want you to at some point have a discussion about that, because you keep going up in the amount you're giving to your ticketed events, but I'm just not sure it's realistic. So just something for the future.
We're way ahead. We already had the discussion this past Friday. And instead of having the full finance committee meeting that we normally do, because the USG office and every other room in Twing was booked, we actually had an open discussion on events that had ticket prices. And I can go into that more, but I think that's getting away from the discussion of match funding.
Okay, that's just for the future. Thanks.
Representative Dooner.
So, sorry for jumping the gun earlier, but the question about groups that only got like their minimum USG recognized budget, is that because an event you just flat out just vetoed an event?
Is there a certain one that you want me to talk about? Or?
Well, I mean, like Undergraduate Material Society, maybe, on the bottom of the first column.
So while VP...
Improvement, maybe?
Okay, so while VP Downey looks at that, I will say that a lot of the allocations that you see only get like the USG 50 or whatever, automatic 50. What happens is that sometimes their descriptions in their application aren't as detailed as we would like, or they mentioned something that was very confusing that we would like for them to kind of include, more information about. For those reasons, we just mark down 0, please come into appeals. That way we may understand your event better or whatnot. I would encourage all of you, and I know VP Downey and myself had sent out an email to attend mass funding events that why some of these rituals or whatever that we do in finance are the way they are and why you see that in paper. So please consider that next time.
Okay, other points of discussion on the bill? VP Daddy, do you want to have a chance to?
Yeah, so you wanted to know about improvement specifically? Sure. Okay. So improvement had two things. They had a semester budget of $575, and I'll read you right now the comments that we wrote. One of them, the biggest amount for their semester, was $300 for black box equipment and repairs. And we put in their comment box, already funded Players Theater Group for black box repairs. Are these the same ones? Because performance groups sometimes use the same things, we don't want to double fund things. The other thing is the apparel subsidy. They just put a flat number down, they didn't tell anything about members or anything. So our comment was, meet numbers, it's only $3 per shirt per student. Funds towards fall outing. Every fall our troop goes on a team building outing, the funds would go towards this. So we said, please explain.
Okay, I completely trust all the decision. I just want to make sure nobody gets, short.
Like I said, these are open to the public. If you go into any group that you're curious about, go into their documents, and it says Fall 2011 Mass Funding. You can open up their Excel doc, and everything's right in there, including comments.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Other points pertinent to Representative Begat? So Bill B 20-12 is tabled until further notice. We're now going to go back to our committee reports, asking that our committee heads please only add to what is in text or highlight very pertinent information. So starting with President Nguyen.
Okay. Congratulations to the new USG Executive Board. It was a there's a lot more to congratulate and clap too, but congratulations to all of you guys. I'm very excited for the incoming new Executive Board. You will be the USG's 21st birthday, and that is the 21st General Assembly. Please treat it well. All right. Also, I would want to thank you, the Election Commission, especially Keith, the Commissioner himself, for putting on what was a very smooth transition and a smooth election. And lastly, mass funding was this past weekend, as you guys have obviously heard. The entire finance crew, whoever was there at the time, finished in one day, and they put a whole lot of work in that one day. It was, how many hours, VP Downey?
12 hours on Saturday.
12 hours on Saturday, straight through. Thank you so much for all your time, for those who were there. So please a hand for that as well.
Including President Nguyen.
Okay. For everyone who's in this room right now, please remember that inauguration is April 21st, and it is at 5:30. The event, the door opens at 5:45, but I expect representatives to be there at 5:30 just to kind of welcome guests as they come. Speaking about that, I am looking for representatives who would like to kind of be the welcoming crew for this event, i.e. you'll have an opportunity to talk to the administrators who are walking in, kind of get them to their seats or whatever. Just basically be friendly USG representatives and welcome the people, so then if they walk in, it's not just a big space, which is the ballroom. If you are interested, let me know. I will be sending out an email, and I'll be gathering some names for that. What you also see there is the remaining GA schedule for the year. Hard to believe, but we have about 3 meetings left, and they're all in April. The last one, well, one of these actually will be a GA in which the President Snyder will be coming in, and possibly the Chair of the Board of Trustees as well. I will let you know as soon as I know from them which particular day that they want to come in, but it'll definitely fall within one of the April dates. So please check to make sure that you know what you're in for during those specific GA meetings. Some of them are packed with a lot of things. Other days are not. And consider running or nominating someone for the positions listed there, minus the ones that didn't pass on the referendum. We'll stay in contact for that. We'll see what's going on with that. I am open to points.
Representative Begat?
2 questions. First one is, what is the USG DI update? And the other one is, where is the UTA EA awards banquet being held?
Okay. Let me answer the first one, and then VP Hamilton can let you guys know about that other part. The USG DI, if you are not familiar with the acronym because it's new, is the USG Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And it's the ad hoc committee that was created this year. Brennan Ham is the chair, the current chair of it. He is actually scheduled to come in that April 5th and let you know what they're doing. They actually have an event coming up. So they have a Slumdog Millionaire, I think, is their showing. And they're trying to showcase social economic status and equality. And VP Hamilton?
Yes, I guess a few things of clarification. One, it's not a banquet, it's a reception. That being said, there will be heavy hors d'oeuvres there, so you can skip dinner and still eat a meal. It will be held on April 12th in the Adelbert Foyer, just downstairs from 5:30 to 6:30. There's going to be at least 20 faculty members there, and some administrators, and hopefully everyone in this room.
Representative Gallo?
Just looking over the schedule for the rest of the year, because I know there's still vacancies from the election, do we just vote on those at the beginning of next year then? Because they're like, I see you have vote for election commissioner, secretary, and so forth, but like, say we have like open positions in the School of Engineering. Do we vote on those before the end of the year? Or do we vote at those at the beginning of next year?
Well, I left them out of this because we weren't sure whether or not we were actually going to get replies back saying, yes, I will want to run for this. If we do get that, then we'll have to squeeze that election in. It does stop at a certain point, I believe. It may be, parliamentarian, please check me on this. Actually, I think it ends when my term ends, so the 31st. So actually this Thursday. So after this Thursday, we may not actually vote in any more new representatives, because technically it would have to wait for the next executive board.
The treasurers and secretary are voted on by this assembly, correct?
Right. Right, the next assembly. But my term ends this 31st, which I believe means that we shouldn't be voting in anybody else for my general assembly.
So we're not going to be filling any vacancies from the existing assembly, but for the new assembly.
Schuyler, you have something different?
Yeah, I think your term ends next 31st, not March 31st.
No, it's March 31st.
I read it as March 31st. Parliamentarian, please check on this and we'll get back to you.
You go out of office at the end of this academic year.
Is it?
When you transition to new, so your last meeting, you have this until the very end.
Oh, right. I knew that, but I think in the Constitution it said something about my term ending a specific date. So parliamentarian can check up on that and we'll get back to you. But as of right now, if we don't hear anything back from representatives, I'm not going to put them in the schedule.
I'm talking about the next General Assembly, like those open vacancies, not this current
those will be
assembly.
those will be voted on next year, yes. Yes.
Okay, other points for President Nguyen? We'll update you on the constitutional stuff via email, probably.
Thank you.
Vice President Agarwal.
Okay. So last Thursday, RHA and UC Student Life did a joint lighting tour of the whole campus. We had two separate groups. We were split pretty evenly, and it was a very successful tour. We had Sergeant Dabrico from security take one group, and Dale, I don't know his last name, Dale from Facilities Electrics come with our group, and it was just like I have there, a very enlightening tour because we found out a lot of information about how lights are programmed on campus and the initiatives that facilities have taken to be sustainable with energy, but also keep us safe with lighting. Both groups found many lights that were broken, found blue lights that were broken. They've all been noted down. One thing I'd like to mention that not many people know, that it's not directly related to lighting, but there is a new security booth checkpoint that has been installed on North Side next to Clark Tower. It is a security tower. It's not operational yet, but it has been put up and it has been painted, and it should be operational by the end of April. So that's just another update on security, that security checkpoint has been installed there. For our committee meeting, I've moved our Student Life Committee meeting to after GA really quickly tonight because of Greek Week events conflicting with my regularly scheduled meeting. And tonight, basically, we're just going to take a quick look at the feedback form, which has been extremely active. Many students have been posting student life concerns on there, and just want to together, all of us, look over them, organize them, and see what we can tackle before the end of the year and what we should transfer to the next Student Life Committee. Open to points.
Okay, seeing none. Is there someone who'd like to give a finance update? Okay.
VP Downey wanted me to PR the SLIG and ask your friends to submit applications for that. It's a lot of money for a really good cause, so putting that out there.
Okay. Academic Affairs, Vice President Hamilton.
Undergraduate Teaching Excellence Award reception, April 12th, 5:30 to 6:30. There's food. You meet faculty members. I'd love it if you all came. The other thing is, I'd like to discuss during open forum, the potential of the Undergraduate Studies Office hiring an additional dean that would focus solely on fellowships. Open to points.
Points for Vice President Hamilton. Representative Thompson?
Fulbright, Goldwater, Churchill, any of those things, a bunch of lesser-known ones that I can't name. I'd like to get more students to have them, because we're an awesome school.
Any other points? Seeing none, is there a PR report tonight? Representative Cruz?
All right, first of all, VP Dorback asked me to remind everyone that the Celebrity Bake Sale is going on Friday, all day, on the quad. She said, make sure you guys tell your classes about it, let everyone know, encourage people to buy tickets, volunteer to help. If you want to help, feel free to contact her. And everyone's favorite part of the evening, rep spotlights. First person, guilty pleasure is going for long drives even though this person knows they can't afford the gas. Weirdest animal this person has touched is a chinchilla. If this person were a cartoon character, he would be Professor Hubert J. Farnsworth from Futurama. Allie?
Vice President Downey?
No. Jared Hamilton?
Representative Thompson.
Yes.
I don't know.
His doppelganger is Bill Gates. His biggest pet peeve is hypocrisy. All right. Butterfinger, 100 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know if I trust you.
Just,
to eat it yourself. Let's see. All right. Second person. Least favorite letter of the alphabet is S because it's hard to make them look neat. Biggest pet peeve is poor grammar and punctuation. Where do we go? If this person were a cartoon character, they would be Roadrunner because he was always smarter than the coyote. Favorite movie, Pride and Prejudice. Andrew.
Representative Cruz?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Let's see. Coolest animal I've ever touched is a ball python or a bat. And apparently I look like Katie Holmes or Misha Barton. I'm not convinced.
Thank you. Points for Representative Lupton.
Yep. I see on it says USG Pizza Night is next Tuesday.
See, what's the date on that? I don't have my agenda up here.
It says next Tuesday. Is that correct? Is USG, does anybody?
I haven't talked to Elena about that at all.
Okay, I guess we'll do it. I'll bring.
Colleen is nodding her head in affirmation that it is indeed next
Okay,
Tuesday.
so I can make I'll make an announcement during open forum about that.
Other points?
It was just gonna be, doesn't the pizza night depend on when the president?
I think next week will probably be best.
Colleen?
Elena and the PR committee really need your help Friday, because this goes from, setup starts at 9, it goes all the way till 3. It's a long day, and it can't just be these people sitting at that table. It's a lot about going into NORD, it's about going into buildings and encouraging faculty and staff and others to come out and spend money. So please, if you have not signed up to help them, they really could use your help. So find it within your heart for 1 hour of sitting there. It'll be a beautiful day, and you'll be covered by a tent, and it'll just be magnificent.
Even
Okay,
just a
so
half
email
hour would be
Elena.
great.
What's that, honey?
That even just a half hour would be great.
There you go.
Do what you can.
There you go. And I'm baking a pineapple upside down cake, so if you want to spend a lot of money, you could, never mind.
Representative Bagat.
I'm making a chocolate cheesecake. It's really good.
You'll see, you're on.
Perhaps there could be a silly hat competition for whoever's baked goods raises the least amount of money. We could have them agree with that. Okay, so Vice President Maloney.
If you had any comments or questions about tonight's
DAS presentation, please share them during open forum. And a couple announcements that weren't in my board report. Student Affairs IT is planning on having extra staff on call during finals to fix issues that arise with the print-to-here printers during finals. So they'll be having more staff on call, I think more hours to fix that. And I forget what the other thing was. It probably wasn't very important. Representative Lupton.
I want to say that you did a great job with, I know you headed up the presidential debate, the Qdoba event, getting the computers, and also a smooth election, so congratulations.
Thanks. Representative Bagat.
Can we sing happy birthday because it was a birthday yesterday?
Yes, we can.
Kelly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Ready? And only if Keith adds in his supplements, because I missed that. Ready? Happy
birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kelly. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks. Representative Hale.
For print to here, I know one of the issues is there's some things we have to wait on Xerox to fix. What can IT fix, and what are the issues, like, is more staff really gonna solve the problem?
A lot of the problems are due to paper jams that people don't feel confident fixing themselves, and by people, I mean both users of the printer and area office staff. So those we can fix, obviously, toner. If it's actually a mechanical failure, that's what they have to call Xerox for, but those are the least frequent problem experienced by the printers. Any other points, Vice President Maloney? Okay, we'll move into our Student Sustainability Council report.
Okay, so the final Recyclemania event is going to be this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the spot. It's the Eco Party. We're planning a retreat right now so that we can reflect on our year and to plan strategies for the fall to recruit freshmen. We don't have a planned date yet for elections, but we're hoping to have them before the retreat so that the new members can understand how the year went, how we can make it better. And Green Action 2011 is in the works, and the advertisements will be out soon. That's all.
Points for Ms. Malotra. Representative Lupton.
Do you have any updates on how we're stacking against other universities? I mean, what does it look like? Any numbers?
So we did really poorly this year compared to last year, about half of last year. So it's disappointing, but I guess there's always next year.
Representative Cruz?
Maybe this is just coming from my perspective, but I feel like it maybe wasn't marketed the best that it could have, because we were about 3 or 4 weeks in already when I found out it was happening, and I like to think that I'm pretty aware of what's going on campus, so maybe just work on that for next year, perhaps.
Actually, the PR effort this year was double the amount of last year. I think what just happens is that we forget that Recyclemania is not an SSC event, it's a school event, and so a lot of students tend to think that if they're not a part of the Student Sustainability Council that they can't participate, which is not true, but obviously we have to be better at marketing that.
Representative Beckett?
You mentioned something about Green Action. Can you tell us about that?
So what it is, it's a week-long event of philanthropic events. It's going to lead up right to Earth Day, which is April 22nd. Like last year, we did Elephant Stairs cleanup, and we have different events throughout the week, and then at the end, we have kind of like a big Earth Day celebration.
Representative Cruz?
Point of personal privilege.
Granted. Representative Sloth?
I just had a question. Before, when you first mentioned Recyclemania, you talked about how Fribley has a composting type of thing, and you were going to talk to Leutner to see if they can reduce the trash that they produce out of that building. Were you able to do anything with that?
I don't think that there's been a recent conversation. I think that was going on when I had last reported that, but I don't think that there's anything new about that.
Any other points for Ms. Malotra? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Oh, yes.
Just wanted to ask you. Do you think the Student Sustainability Council seems sustainable for like the future?
I think so. I think we definitely need to do a better job in the fall to recruit more people. We get really big in the beginning and then we shrink to like 5 or 6 people. So I think retention is definitely our problem, but we'll definitely try to work on that.
Okay. Other points? All right, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have any caucus reports this evening? Granted, Representative Hale.
Okay, engineering caucus. So if you're not going to the bake sale on Friday, or if you feel like you need a break, come by Nord 310 between 12:30 and 1:30, because we're doing our engineering peer advising event. Snaps. So basically, the premise, you've heard about it before, it's going to be upperclassmen students helping other students make their schedules for the next year, which occurs 3 days later. Scheduling opens 3 days later, so it's good timing. But we're continually looking to add people to every major. We have like 1 or 2 people in each major. We'd like to have like at least 3. So if you're interested, email either me or Matt Fernandez. We need people in every major, so come by. There's free Jimmy John's.
Representative Beckett?
I just want to clarify that we only have advisors for engineering majors, so if you're not an engineer.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
Engineers only.
Representative Upton?
So this is for you guys, he told you guys, so tell your engineering friends that this is happening.
Thank you.
Other points? Okay, seeing none, Representative Begat?
The Arts and Science Caucus will be having our comments event next Thursday. We'll be meeting right after this GA to finalize some details about it.
Representative Gallo?
All right, so I just want to update you guys on what happened at the undergraduate graduate mixer we had, the first annual. How exciting. So it was last Thursday, 4:30 to 6:30 in the Twing Atrium. Hopefully you guys stopped by. We ended up having about 25 graduate students show up to just talk with the undergraduates. We ordered food for about 75 people, and we were out of it within 45 minutes. So we didn't really have to keep account of how many students there were, but yeah, that's the minimum at least, I don't know. We got a lot of positive feedback from everyone that came. Well, not everyone, obviously, but we did get a lot of positive feedback. And the graduate students offered suggestions, told us that if we wish to do it again next year, that they could help us recruit even more graduate students from a more vast array of fields. And we are going to have a caucus meeting next week to discuss improvements on it, because we hope to have it again and maybe make it a tradition. Open to points.
Just issuing a huge congratulations to this committee. The PR was so excellent that I actually received an email from our sorority listserv from an alum who is a case law student who was like really excited about this before I even had the chance to say, hey, I think you should come. So excellent job on your PR. It was an excellent event. Representative Begat.
Ditto on what the speaker just said. I was there. It was really well attended. I want to say that most of the grad students were talking to about 2 or 3 students at once, so there's a reason the food went out really fast. It was really well attended.
Other points? All right, seeing none. Other caucus reports? Okay, we'll move into open forum. Feedback report.
Yay.
Okay, so the first one it says, does the university have the ability to shut down water mains remotely? I think this was forwarded to RHA though. So the next one was a really long and kind of funny comment that I'm not going to go through, but it had a lot to do with Bon Appetit and Grab It things. Then there were some joke things from mass funding, and then improving the USG weekly newsletter appearance.
Okay, points for discussion for open forum. Representative Begat?
What's the status on the cafe in the library? I know what we had said before that it's got to be something that either we use it or we lose it. So does anyone know anything about how it's doing?
Representative, Vice President, President Nguyen. You were hand battling.
Well, I don't know, maybe VP Hamilton knows more about it, but I do know that it will be, the senior class gift is going to be going towards the cafe, so I have a feeling that it'll be there for at least another year or so.
It's buying a table.
They've got like a coffee tumbler that you can buy, and then it's really cheap to like fill up, so I'm sure they're tricking long-term students into buying it. So they're gonna, I feel like if a lot of students get that, then they'll have continuous revenues, and I at least go there once a week.
He maybe goes every day.
Other points for discussion? Yes.
The fellowship dean. Is anyone opposed to this?
Representative Beckett?
I just have a question. Why did it come up? Does Dean Hamel feel like she isn't able to handle the need, or that she wants to bring in more scholarships?
So it actually came up with my committee meeting with Dean Wolkowitz. No, actually, it came up in a conversation with Dean Wolkowitz. And basically what happens is Limery Hamel only looks at fellowships part of the time that she does her job. She's not fully devoted to that. And seeing as how there are students that could apply for these, but at times don't know they can, if we had someone doing it full time, then that could increase our yield.
Representative Thompson?
I'm not opposed to this per se. I'm just thinking that there's a lot of staffing issues right now. And this may be best use of money.
Representative Beckett?
Just going to add that she also handles things such as the Peace Corps applications and yes, also Fulbright and Rhodes Scholars, and I feel like it's a lot to put onto her. So if we had another position created, I don't know if that's to be a dean position, a liaison maybe, but yeah.
President Nguyen?
Can I ask the question, because I think we're getting this into personal relations as opposed to how this affects undergraduate students. How would you feel this affects undergraduate students by making this position?
Vice President Agarwal?
I was going to actually ask has anyone asked Dean Hamel if she feels like she's overworked, if she feels like she's not able to assist students the best way she can in, filling out these applications, reviewing applications. She would be the best person to, see if she thinks that someone else should be helping her out with this.
Representative Beckett?
I felt that some of the different applications that I guess she would be handling, and I felt like I wasn't really informed on a lot of details, and I didn't receive a lot of feedback, and I know others who had similar situations, so I don't know if it's because there's a lot going on for her, or if there are other reasons this semester, the last semester, but I felt like I could have had someone who was more responsive.
Other points for discussion? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move into our advisors report.
So I moved across the room and I went into a totally different place tonight. So I have a question for you. How many of you are on the same side of the room as you were last week? And how many of you are in the same exact seat as you were last week? Okay, so next week, I need you to mix it up a little bit, all right? Sometimes it keeps your attention and retains your attention better. 2, it makes you look at things maybe from a different point of view. And 3, sometimes it's just more fun. So, and I think Kevin and Doug, who's gone, should mix it up too and move next
I don't
week
get to mix it
and
up?
exchange your seats. So, just for me, just to indulge me, everybody move around next week and go to an entirely different side of the room and a different seat, okay? Just for fun, just to see if it makes a difference on whether or not the meeting is, okay? And I do want to also publicly thank and acknowledge Keith and Kelly and the commission, and welcome all the new reps and all the new exec board. It's going to be an amazing year, and I'm just really excited to work with all of you. So just wanted to say that as well. Thanks.
Announcements. Vice President Agarwal.
Okay, so this blood drive I've been talking about for a while, it's this Saturday. A couple of updates on that. I don't know if it was a miscommunication or she truncated the time for me, but the blood drive is actually from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you volunteered between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. and 4 to 5, we don't actually need you anymore. But thank you for volunteering in the first place. Another thing is I have some snazzy black and white flyers here. If you could post them around campus. I know it is this Saturday. I only got them this weekend. I'll send an email out with the flyer as a JPEG. Maybe you can forward it to your chapters, your friends, student groups, or whatever. Encourage them to sign up to donate. I will. Sorry?
The Collegiate Link flyer board is on there.
I can send that to you too. So I'll send reminders to all those people who volunteered. Other than that, that's all. Thanks.
Secretary Mueller.
Okay, so I know there's a lot going on Friday, but if you're not going to help with the celebrity bake sale, not going to the peer advising thing for the engineering caucus,
Or you're good at splitting your time.
if you're not training to be an OL, then you should definitely be at Power to Purple in Twing Atrium this Friday. And that's also if there's not a snow day this Friday. So please go. We're having Dr. Hansen speak. It'll be great. There will be tons of great food. Please, please go. Thank you.
Representative Lupton, and then Bagat, and then Fernandez, and then Colleen.
Yeah, I want to let everybody know that we're holding next Tuesday a Relay for Life fundraising event here in GA. Okay? So what that means is I'm going to send an email out. It's going to have a Pizza BOGO menu attached, and you're going to email me the type of pizza you want. What I ask in return is a donation. You pay for your pizza and it's a donation. So I'm asking $10, and I'm going to bring you a fresh, hot pizza at about 6:45 to USG, so we can eat it beforehand so we don't disrupt the whole meeting. But please, I'll send out an email. Just, it's $10. I take cash only. Maybe checks, I guess. Colleen, I don't know. We could take checks, make them out to Relay for Life?
No, USG Relay for Life.
Okay, USG Relay for Life. But it's $10. Please reply, okay? It's, I think Pizza BOGO charges us $5 for them, and so we raised a lot of money. Last year, I think we raised $80. So I'll send out an email. So please, if you can spare $10, do it.
Representative Bagat.
Two things. Newly elected representatives to the College of Arts and Sciences, if you want to join in on the meeting as well, feel free to. Also, College of Arts and Sciences is hosting a Nacho Happy Hour this Thursday from 4 to 5. I believe it's in the Sages Cafe area.
Representative Fernandez.
Engineering caucus, please meet me after GA.
Colleen.
Friday, in addition, is a panel discussion called Words Matter in Nord, and Maria Lemler has been behind this Words Matter campaign for an entire semester and a half, and she has a panel of folks to discuss the various issues surrounding the use of language, and pizza will be served thanks to USG. Okay.
It's also April Fool's Day. Vice President Hamilton. President Wynn.
Can I get a show of hands for those who are attending the UPB Russell Peters event next week, next Tuesday? What time does that start?
7:30, I think.
I might take it. I think 7:30. You should be all right. Seriously, you meet till about 8:10.
Okay. Okay.
Open at 7:30.
Yes, but
Yeah, you have your seat.
well, if you have your ticket, then the ticket comes with the seat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Then USG GA will be fine.
Vice President Hamilton.
Move to adjourn. Second. Science over here.